Hello, team.
Good morning,
Hello,
Mr.
Mr.
Wang.
Wang.
Morning, Mr. Wang. So, okay. Hello, marketing team. So, hi. I have a question. Hi.
Next slide.
So, since I'm new here, I have a new question. For your team, as the marketing team, how can our company have an innovative culture? Yes, Sir Richard.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Wang. So that's a good question. So how can um, a, a team or a company have an innovative culture? But before we go there, we have to discuss these two important things. So number one is what is culture, and what is climate. The first thing is that culture is a deeply rooted set of values and beliefs that provide the norm for behavior in a company. It also helps to understand how they do what they do. So, and it usually rooted from their mission and vision. So, for example, for Google, their mission is to organize the world's data for it to be more accessible to everyone. So that particular mission drives their culture and how they do things. So basically, it is rooted from their mission and their vision. Next slide. And climate is a set of behavior um, that are expected and rewarded, supported, rewarded, climate explains how things actually happen in the company. So to an extent, climate is an observable manifestation of the culture. And sometimes cultural values are so deeply ingrained and not that they often and it's difficult to articulate the culture, and it's also difficult to change. So sometimes there are dysfunctions from dun sa norm as opposed to sa culture. So basically that's why it's very important for companies know how uh, to to be mindful of the norms and how they reward things. So, as an example, if you promote people that are not are like irate or not really doing a good job, so that will become a norm to the company. So we have to be mindful for that. Okay, next slide.
So here are the facilitators of a culture of innovativeness. So we're going to discuss it one by one.
Yep. So basically, these are um the manifestation on how to be an innovative company. So you'll notice that each of them is related to one another. And at the same time, not everyone will be applicable to every company, but we just have to be mindful of this. So number one is the top management attention. So meaning what are the CEOs are focused on. So example, so it's very important for to be innovative, for example, is it's very important the CEOs are future focused and external focus. So future focus means they're not preoccupied with the issues of the past and the present. So they're anticipating future events. Okay. And also external focus man is the leader is focused on the customer needs, the market trends, and what are the competitive actions. So basically they're analyzing what's happening externally from the word itself. So for example, for Facebook, so like a few years ago, so they're so when when Web 2.0 happened, the interaction. So basically they wanted to expand, and basically their goal there was to they're observing how can they make more money, how can they more attract more users. So before there was a lot of there's this website called sulit.com, or there's so they introduced marketplace, so that since they know that this will attract more users to the website, so something to that effect. So they're observing what's happening outside, and right now it's a web 3.0, so they're also focusing on meta, so they're adjusting to the times and adjusting to what's happening. Okay, next slide. And for us to have create for us to have innovation, we have to have creative destruction. So this is a process of industrial mutation that continuously revolutionize the economic structure from within and incessantly destroying the old one and incessantly creating a new one. So basically, it's basically this similar to the old one, to the previous one, that we have to be adjusting with the times. And so doesn't mean that um, something is already working, we will become complacent and we won't be fearful of obsolescence or to be obsolete. Okay, so that's why, for example, in the picture, so the classic example of like Kodak or Nokia, that was really like having that was really their market share was very big, but because they didn't catch up with the times, then they become obsolete and became out of business. So yeah, so that's creative destruction. And the next slide. So we have managers willingness to cannibalize. So basically, if you have creative destruction, so you have this term which is cannibalization, which so basically you want the actual the extent to which the firm is prepared to reduce the actual or potential value of its investments for creating and introducing new product and new service innovation. So again, as I said, so it's related, but in a way, this is very hard sometimes because you're sometimes when you're successful, sometimes you have that feeling that since this is working and why change what's working. So basically we have to be so as you can see in the picture, we have to be mindful of the changing times, what are the product categories that's happening, what are your competitors are doing, what are the technologies that's up and coming. Because if not, you'll become you'll cannibalize you'll be cannibalized by your own successful product because you were so ingrained with the successful things that happened before, and you're already get used to those kind of things and you don't innovate anymore. Okay, so for the next topics, Lance will discuss it.
Actually, for the next set of the
Sorry.
facilitators of change, I will be discussing first the product champions. So these are the people who create, define, or adopt a new idea and are willing to assume significant risk to make it happen. So these are actually the treasure of the organization. They're often called like icon class, mavericks, and also the crusaders, because they are the ones who break the rules, take the risk, transform companies, and turn organizations upside down. And then they work tirelessly and lobby behind the scenes for organizational resources to help their ideas take off. So not only they are driven and aggressive in making a change or innovation in the company, they also have the characteristic of political astuteness. So they know who are the right people to tap in the organization in order for their new idea or innovation to make it happen. And also they have that technical competence, so they can convince the top management and also the lower level of the organization in order for their innovation to be facilitated all throughout the company. And also they have the market knowledge. So they're able to justify their innovation, especially to the top management, so that their innovation will be given an amount or a budget that they are needed. So for the next facilitators of innovation in the company, we should also take into consideration the skunk works. So Mr. Wang, what are the skunk works? These are the new venture teams that are isolated or removed from the normal corporate operations. So basically, they are the team that are separated from the main corporation of the company. So basically, they need minimal supervision because since they are isolated, they are encouraged to foster more creativity in their product or services. And they can be given the task to have a new line of businesses because they have an isolated team compared to the main corporation. And they can also innovate new products. So when this team, which is isolated from the main corporation, they are able to express or foster their creative ideas and have novel products for the company. So we should also take into consideration the skunk works. So skunk works actually comes from the word skunk works, an illicit distillery in the popular comic strip from the 1940s, Little Abner by Al Cap. So for the next facilitators of change in the company is the learning orientation. So it is basically the ability to learn faster than your competitors. So our company must also encourage our employees to learn new knowledge in order to increase our marketability to our consumers. And it also facilitates the development of new knowledge or insights that have to potentially influence the strategies and decision making. So basically, we need new learnings in order to cope up with the dynamic and the very competitive marketing of our consumers. So with new learning, we're able to have a better understanding of the market and also for innovation. So that's is going to be our edge when it comes to other companies. So for my last facilitators of change would be the unlearning. So unlearning basically is the process of identifying knowledge and assumptions that are the basis for strategy, testing them for their validity, and discarding those that have become barriers to proactive change. So we all know that we have our traditional knowledge or conventional knowledge that we have been practicing all throughout these years in our companies. So if we do not unlearn our traditional ways, we cannot learn new ideas or new technologies. So we need to challenge our conventional ways in order to facilitate new ideas from other companies, for example, or other ideas. And let me just share a quote that high stakes innovation requires abandoning conventional wisdom, even actively unlearning things we know are true. So that's it, Mr. Wang. For the next facilitators of innovation, I would like to turn over to Mr. Lance.
Hi, Mr. Wang. Good day. So for the next four facilitators of innovation, we have the corporate imagination. So what is corporate imagination? So Miss Annika, can you click that video so Mr. Wang can watch that video? So actually, I can't hear it, but you don't have to hear it to know what's in the video. So that's okay. So corporate imagination. A company must also have the imagination to envision markets that do not yet exist. Like for example, this car. Who would have known that we will be having those self-driving cars? Like we have a law from Isaac Newton about the motion that there must be someone like pushing you to move you. So as you can see, or as we would have an initial idea about cars, there should be an operator for it to move. But look at this. Look at who invented this car that can operate itself. Who would have known that we will be having this kind of cars in this generation? So we must learn, again, as what Miss Annika said, we must learn to unlearn so you can relearn. Like you must think outside of the box to have those ideas, those bright ideas that you think at the moment is not possible, but it's really feasible if you are willing to try. So there's also a quote that you can't depend on your eyes when your imagination is out of focus. So we must really put everything out, learn to unlearn, so we can have those eyes of those children that have those wonderful dreams, wonderful imagination. And to give you a quote also from Albert Einstein, imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited to all we know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there ever be and ever will be to know and understand. So that's a great quote from Albert Einstein. I hope you understand, Mr. Wang, that we must think outside of the box to imagine, to have those new vision for our new products or services that we can offer. Next slide, please. So we have now the expeditionary marketing. So expeditionary marketing refers to the strategies that are aimed at moving established companies and their products into new markets and territories. Like for example, I have this picture of Coca-Cola using Marshmallow, if I'm not mistaken. He's a singer, so he's tapping the market for those who are fan of the singer. And then also we have those BTS meal of McDo. So McDonald's tap the fans of BTS for them to buy their products. So we must also find those areas, those markets that are yet on top, or those places that we have no yet goods or products at the moment. Like for example, from my former company. So I am a marketing officer there also, and I do market research. I go to wet markets to look for our products. If our products is shoma and other processed food, if our products are there in those sari-sari stores. So if there are no products of us in those sari-sari stores, then I will note it, and then I'll send those notes to our salesman for him or her to negotiate to those owners of those sari-sari store for us to have a placing, and also for those malls like SM or like in Trinoma. So currently at that company, former company of mine, where our placing is in the Landmark only, and then the Fisher Mall. So we have yet untapped the IKEA, the SNR, and then the Landers. So that's a room for improvement. And then we must find emerging business to market or research for new product or services that is yet undiscovered or delivered by our company. Like for example, if the our market for the our customers from the fast food chains no longer want French fries, but they want those crisscross fries. So why can't we offer those crisscross fries? So that's the expeditionary marketing. We go to places that is yet on top by our company. So next slide, please. So risk tolerance. So simply put, risk tolerance is the level of risk an investor like you, Mr. Wang, is willing to take. So you can have those opportunities. Like there will be no opportunity if we are not ready to make those risks. Like for example, here's a quote from Gina Davis. If you risk nothing, then you risk everything. You are risking your company, as what we've learned in our TM201 way back when we are in our masters. There is an S curve. Like when we are at the top of that S curve and we are not risking to do something new to improve, then we are risking our whole company to go bankruptcy because we are not innovating. You know that, Mr. Wang? So no improvement without taking risk. And risk equals consequence and likelihood. So another quote here is successful people take big risks knowing that they might fall hard, but they might succeed more than they ever dreamed if they take the risk. So next slide, please. I hope, Mr. Wang, you will take the risk for this next slide that I will present to you. So compensation for innovation. So what is it? So are your ears being closed now? Because I am telling you, you must give a great compensation to your employees, because good pay is a company that has good pay is a good company. So a compensation model that encourages innovation should strike a balance between the risk and rewards associated with the work. So if a person like Miss Annika or Sir Richard got that sales criteria for that month, then you must give him a good pay, a good compensation. So he will be driven to do better at his work. So again, I have a quote here: 69% of organizations feel compensation is a competitive trend with their respective businesses. But yet, only 31% feel they're prepared to address the need for compensation strategies. But I believe, Mr. Wang, our company can allow to do this, to have those criteria for giving us another additional bonus if we get those tasks that you are giving us. So I hope this answer, Mr. Wang, your question from our manager, Mr. Richard and Miss Annika. So I'll give the closing remarks to Sir Richard. Sir Richard, back to you.
So thank you, Lance. So hope you have learned a thing or two, Mr. Wang, about how to facilitate a culture of innovation. I hope this helped. Thank you. Goodbye.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you, team. I am grateful for those inputs you've given me. So I'll give you a raise. So let's meet tomorrow. So goodbye. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. Wang.